The views and opinions expressed in the DILLIGAF podcast are those of the host alone and are not intended to express those of any other person, business, or entity. The DILLIGAF podcast is for entertainment only. These are my opinions and should not be interpreted as facts or advice. Think for yourself.
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DILLIGAF podcast, talking about anything and everything that interests me. If it makes me think, laugh, cry, scream, rage, or say what the fuck, you're going to hear about it. My name's Tom. I am your host. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, rate, comment, share. Help me spread the word, get some more eyes and ears on the show if you don't mind. That all that stuff really helps out. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all socials. And you can find all that on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or you can scan the little QR code right here in the corner of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And if you ever want to drop me an email, it's dilligafpod@gmail.com. So, got a special episode today. Today is May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm all geared up in my Darth Vader gear here. But yeah, so we are talking all about Star Wars today. It's, May the 4th be with you. Honestly, I've always thought that just sounded goofy as hell, but it's Star Wars, so we're going to run with it. But yeah, we're just going to go through some of like my favorite stuff about Star Wars. Is basically just my favorites of anything and everything Star Wars. And I personally say this stuff is the best, but obviously that's completely subjective. If you agree, you disagree, hey, let me know. Drop me a comment, drop me an email. But let's dive right in here. I'm going to start off talking about the best hero of the Star Wars universe. Now, a lot of people, if you were to ask them this, that you'd probably get one of two answers, either Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. And growing up, Han Solo was my guy. Loved Han Solo. I wanted to be Han Solo when I was a kid. But now there's so much out there as far as Star Wars, between movies, TV shows, animated shows, books, comic books, anything you can imagine. And so a lot of these characters, we've been able to get a lot more in depth with them and who they are and their history and all this kind of stuff. And being the Star Wars fanatic that I am, I mean, my pick for best hero in the Star Wars universe is Leia. Princess Leia is the best hero in the Star Wars universe. Because you look at just who she is, her strength, her bravery, her wisdom beyond her years. Add into all that, she is part of the Skywalker family. She is a Jedi, and we got to see a younger version of Leia in the Obi-Wan show on Disney Plus. And even as a child, she was she had that same strength and courage, and just she everything that a hero should be is Princess Leia. So that is my pick for best Star Wars hero. Now, best villain. Now, a lot of people would say probably Darth Vader, maybe the Emperor, but for best villain, I gotta go with Grand Admiral Thrawn. And of course, he was introduced in the expanded universe books after Return of the Jedi, and we got introduced to him in one of the animated shows in Rebels, and then in the live action show Ahsoka. So we got to see just how evil and ruthless and genius this man is when it comes to war and battles and things like that. And he epitomizes everything of just what a villain is, because simply because he is so smart. He's always seems to be 2 steps ahead of the rebels all the time. And it finally took something drastic to defeat him. And but now, as we've seen in the Ahsoka show, he was able to make his way back. So we're going to see more of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I'm here for it. Thrawn is the best villain in the Star Wars universe. Again, my opinion. There's people that are still going to argue it's Darth Vader. There's people that's going to argue. There might be people that argue it's Boba Fett or something like that. Who knows? But although Boba Fett's not really a villain anymore, is he? Since his appearance in The Mandalorian and then his own show. So, but moving on, best movie. And I'm sorry, there should be no argument on this. The best Star Wars movie is The Empire Strikes Back, Episode 5. It's damn near a perfect movie. The storytelling, the way that the characters evolve from Episode 4, the original Star Wars, A New Hope. We find out that Vader is Luke's father. We see Luke going through his first formal Jedi training with Yoda. We get introduced to Yoda for the first time. And it ends with so much uncertainty. Han Solo's been frozen in carbonite and taken off by Boba Fett to be handed over to Jabba the Hutt. Luke loses his hand and loses the lightsaber duel with Vader. And it's just, you're left wondering, is the rebellion dead? Is this, is the Empire going to win? And, really a true kind of cliffhanger ending that obviously, we get the true ending in Return of the Jedi. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back, I mentioned this before, was the first movie my parents ever took me to see when I was like 2 years old. They took me to a drive-in when we were living in California. Yes, drive-in theaters were a thing. That was a real thing, and they were really cool. But and that's what just hooked me on Star Wars was The Empire Strikes Back. And still to this day, I have all of the original Star Wars toys, the action figures, the play sets. I don't have all of them, but I've got a pretty damn good lot of them. And talking about Empire, is going to take us into our next category, I guess, which is best trilogy. There's 3 trilogies among the Star Wars movies. You have the original trilogy, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. You have the prequel trilogy, which is Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Then you have the sequel trilogy, which is The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm a fan of all of them. I like all of the movies. I like some better than others, obviously, but I don't sit here and criticize the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy that a lot of people do. It tells a complete story, of the Skywalker family from Anakin all the way through Rey. And but as far as what the best trilogy is, I have to go with the original. And when I say the original, I mean the original. The ones that came out in, 77, 80, and 83. Those are my favorites. That's my favorite trilogy. I like the special edition ones where George Lucas went back and added a lot of visual effects and things like that. But and a lot of people argue about that too. Han Solo shouldn't have shot first, or Han Solo did shoot first. Well, yeah, Han Solo shot first. Okay, sorry for anybody that argues on the side of Greedo shooting first. But when we first meet Han Solo, he's basically a freaking pirate. He's not a strictly good guy when we meet Han Solo. He's a smuggler for Jabba the Hutt. He's basically a low-level mafia guy, if to put it into like today's kind of terms, real world terms. That's basically what he is. And so yeah, he's gonna shoot first. They should have left that part alone. That's the only complaint I have about it. They should have left that part alone. But But yeah, the original trilogy is always going to be my favorite. I mean, I've sat and just binge watched all of Star Wars. I actually one time I took a vacation from work just to take some time off and just hang out at home, chill, relax, and what some people call a staycation. I literally watched everything Star Wars that there is to watch. All the animated shows, all the movies, all the live action shows in proper timeline order. Started with Phantom Menace, watched everything all the way through to The Rise of Skywalker. It took 11 days. That was the only thing playing on my television for 11 days was Star Wars, and I loved it. But the original trilogy will always be my favorite. That, like I said, that's what got me hooked on Star Wars from basically the age of 2. So that's always gonna win for me. Next up, we have the best non-Skywalker movie, and what I mean by that is the best movie outside of the Skywalker saga, the 3 trilogies. And I got to give this one to Rogue One. I liked Solo. I did it because we got some backstory on Han Solo, which we didn't have before. But Rogue One, it kind of fills in some gaps, gives us some information we didn't know in A New Hope. It fills that space between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And we get to see how the rebels got those Death Star plans, how Princess Leia came into possession of the Death Star plans before she gave them to R2-D2 and sent them off to find Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so it just fills in that space, and then we get a badass scene with Darth Vader just destroying a group of rebel soldiers trying to recover those plans. And we get the little cameo of Princess Leia at the very end. Of course, it was CGI because let's face it, Leia wasn't 19 anymore when that movie was made. So it just fills in the gaps, makes the story more complete, and literally leads directly into A New Hope. Like, you could mash those two together, the ending of Rogue One and the beginning of A New Hope, and it would be seamless. And that's probably one of the best things about it. It leads right into the beginning of A New Hope. Best animated show. Now, there may be some argument about this because the Star Wars animated shows are really, really good. But for me, the best one is Rebels. That, again, fills in some gaps between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, shows how the rebellion got started. And yeah, and it takes just one group of rebels, and tells their story of what their contribution was to the rebellion as a whole. Just focused mainly on one planet, Lothal. And, that's obviously where we get Ezra Bridger. And then we get, we get a continuation of Ahsoka's story. And I'll be saying more about Ahsoka in a little bit. But Ahsoka, of course, Anakin Skywalker's Padawan from the Clone Wars animated show. So there's that connection there. It carries over. We get to see, where Ahsoka comes in as far as the rebellion goes. So Rebels, definitely my favorite Star Wars animated show. Live action shows. All of the Star Wars live action shows have been fantastic, in my opinion. I have nothing bad to say about any of them. I actually just got done watching Obi-Wan again. But and yeah, that's my favorite live action show is Obi-Wan. Because again, it gives us more, it just fills in more gaps between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, because there's a 20-year gap there, between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And so between Rebels and Obi-Wan and Bad Batch, we get to see what went on in those years, and also Rogue One, of course. We get to see what went on in all those years, and the Obi-Wan show Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters. He's probably in my top three, and that's mainly because of Ewan McGregor. I mean, I loved Alec Guinness in the original trilogy, but Ewan McGregor is the one that really gave a lot of depth to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he definitely did justice to the character. And the Obi-Wan live action show is just freaking amazing. And I'll get more into some stuff about that in a couple minutes here. Best video game. This one's hard because there's some really good Star Wars video games out there and some not so good ones. But for me, my favorite, I gotta give honorable mention to Jedi Fallen Order, because I've played through that game so many times. But probably my favorite is The Force Unleashed, because it gives us kind of a behind the scenes story of Darth Vader training his own apprentice to try and take down Emperor Palpatine, which is honestly Sith tradition. The apprentice kills the master and then becomes the master and takes his own apprentice, and the cycle starts all over again. That's just kind of how the Sith works, and it's not a great business model, but it is what it is. But yeah, the Force Unleashed, Darth Vader basically finds the child of two Jedi. He kills the Jedi, takes the child as his apprentice to train him in secret, and this apprentice ends up being the one to start the rebellion at the behest of Vader to distract Palpatine from what Vader's doing. So Vader basically created his own undoing, or created the undoing of the Empire, unwittingly, I guess. But ow, that was my desk. But anyway, so it's a cool story, and it's just a fun video game. Force Unleashed 2, I liked a lot too, but the first one definitely wins as far as my favorite Star Wars video game. Now this one's hard. Best character. I talked about best hero, best villain. I'm talking about now best overall character in the Star Wars universe, and which is basically my favorite character. But for me, Ahsoka Tano is the best character in Star Wars. And the reason I say that is because she is the most complete character in the Star Wars universe. If you watch Tales of the Jedi and the Clone Wars and Rebels and the Ahsoka live action show, we've basically seen Ahsoka from birth, watched her grow up into a Padawan, watched her leave the Jedi Order, and seen, where she's gone, where she was during the rebellion, and now where she is after the rebellion with the New Republic. And yeah, she is the most complete character in the Star Wars universe, and just she has become my absolute favorite. Like I said, growing up, my favorite was always Han Solo. That's who I wanted to be. Now, Ahsoka, like I said, in my opinion, nothing can touch Ahsoka. She is a badass, and like I said, we've been able to see her entire life through all of the Star Wars media that's out there. So to me, that makes her the best character. Best toy. Like I said, I still have all of the original Star Wars toys from like the late 70s. And yeah, I'm showing my age there. But my favorite one still to this day, because you just don't see toys like this anymore. The original Death Star playset from A New Hope. It's like maybe 3 feet tall, maybe not quite that tall, but you set it on the floor, it's pretty damn tall. It's got 3 levels. It's got the garbage compactor. It's got the little bridge thing where Luke and Leia swing across. It's got the gun turret at the top with the big cannon, and all this different stuff, and It's just Google it. Google Death Star playset 1977, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I still have this thing sitting in a big Rubbermaid container in my closet. That's full of nothing but Star Wars toys. It's just, like I said, they don't make toys like that anymore. And it's badass. I used to sit in my living room floor and play with this thing for hours on end. And yeah, it's just it best Star Wars toy ever made. People would argue maybe the Millennium Falcon, and but I never had the Millennium Falcon. I'm very sad about that. I never got the original Millennium Falcon toy. I got the little mini diecast one, which is pretty badass because it's just a cool display piece too. But yeah, my all-time favorite toy is the original Death Star playset from A New Hope. And the last category I'm going to talk about here is best battle. And there have been a lot of good battles throughout the entire Star Wars universe. You talk about the destruction of the original Death Star, the destruction of the Death Star 2, Luke and Vader from Empire Strikes Back, the battle on Hoth from Empire Strikes Back, the Battle of Naboo from Phantom Menace, the Battle of Geonosis from Attack of the Clones. Yeah, just a lot of awesome battles throughout the entire Star Wars universe. My favorite, Vader and Obi-Wan from the finale of the Obi-Wan live action show. And you had Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope. They were they were both quite a bit older. Let's face it, Alec Guinness didn't move all that great. But and it was the second battle of these two, because we got the first one at the end of Revenge of the Sith with Anakin and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan obviously won that battle. That's how Anakin became Darth Vader. And then we see Vader and Obi-Wan, and at the beginning of the Obi-Wan show, he's really kind of just beaten down and broken. And I'm talking about Obi-Wan, and just almost completely defeated, completely, just yeah, he's not a Jedi anymore. He's in hiding on Tatooine, keeping an eye on Luke, and just he has nothing and no one. He's just completely isolated and alone and just a broken person. And he's tasked with rescuing Princess Leia, who has been kidnapped by the Empire. And he basically finds that will again to fight. And the battle between him and Vader it's very, very emotional. You see after Obi-Wan strikes Vader in the helmet, and you see part of his face exposed, and Hayden Christensen actually came back to play Vader, which I thought was really cool. To get Hayden Christensen back into the Star Wars universe. But you see the burnt part of Hayden Christensen's face under the mask, and you just see Obi-Wan just break down, because this was his friend, his student, his apprentice, and somebody who he raised almost like a father from the age of like 10, and trained him to be a Jedi, and he fell to the dark side, and Obi-Wan feels that is his failure. And then you hear Vader say, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. And it's very, very powerful, very emotional, and just that to me, that is the best battle in Star Wars. Like, if if you get somebody who's never seen Star Wars, like, show me what it's all about. Show them that lightsaber duel. Like, this is Star Wars. Good versus evil, but there's still kind of a gray area there. Like, because Anakin or Obi-Wan still sees Anakin, but then Vader, basically saying Anakin's gone. And just, yeah, My all-time favorite Star Wars battle. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I just want to talk about Star Wars for a little while. So hopefully y'all are cool with that. But again, it's May the 4th. I'm gonna spend all day watching Star Wars after I get some more ink done on my arm. But yeah, I'm gonna spend the day watching Star Wars because it's May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day. There's some new stuff coming out on Disney Plus today. I'm gonna check that out. So hopefully all my Star Wars fans out there, y'all have a great day. Hope you're doing the same thing I am, binge watching some Star Wars stuff, and just yeah, again, May the 4th be with you. So I want to thank everybody for watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, rate, comment, share. All that stuff helps out the show. I greatly appreciate it. Follow on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all the socials. And you can find everything on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the QR code right there in the corner of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And if you ever want to drop me an email, it's dilligafpod@gmail.com. Let me know what your favorite Star Wars stuff is. What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite show? Who's your favorite character? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Why? Why not? Talk to me. Tell me something. Interact. Come on, y'all. But so yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the little Star Wars chat here. And yeah, I got to apologize. I haven't put a show out in a couple of weeks. I was supposed to do the show about one-hit wonders last week. I wasn't feeling the topic. I was like researching it. I'm like, just wasn't feeling it. So I just took the week off because I can do that. It's my show. But again, May the 4th be with you. Watch some Star Wars stuff today. Just enjoy it and don't complain about it. I mean, it's Star Wars. It's great. It's the best media franchise ever created. But not everybody's going to like everything. And that's okay. You don't have to be an asshole about it. And I'm going back to a previous show when I talked about toxic fandoms. Star Wars falls into that category. So just watch what you like. If you don't like Phantom Menace, don't watch it. If you don't like Rise of Skywalker, don't watch it. It's really that simple. But anyway, thank you again to everybody for checking out the show. And as always, if anyone has any issues with anything that I have said here today, ask yourself one question. Do I look like I give a fuck? 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.